All Hail the Fail, the podcast that celebrates messing up spectacularly, embarrassing yourself repeatedly, and failing forward. I'm your host, Melise Leonard, executive, consultant, coach, author, and proud of every failure and rejection it took to get me there. Today's guest is Melise Leonard. Melise is a seasoned talent development and recruiting leader, passionate about grads, digital, and coaching. She's results-driven, and as a team leader, she can really handle pressure, super ambitious, hungry for results for herself as much as she is for her team. Melise, hello. Thanks for being here.
Well, hello. It's so cool to be on the other side.
Is it?
Of this. Yeah, like when I've introduced you before, I get what you're saying. You're like, oh no, stop it. So kind. Oh.
So true. I mean, I could go on because the first question is, if your best friend was introducing you at a conference, what would they say? And I'm like, oh, I could have full on written this for Melise, but I'm going to hear what you think your best friends would say.
That's a bit of a stump for me because I would want to hear vulnerability, I suppose. I think I would want my best friend, if they were describing me in a conference set episode, that there would be in some way, shape, or form some vulnerability in that description. I think
that would come up.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly certain they would also bring up like one of the things I admire most about you is that it is incredibly difficult to be a people or HR professional with business leaders and hold your own and have a seat at the table and be a thought partner, not just a service provider, which I think a lot of people in support functions can really kind of relate to. And certainly my time in HR, I was like,
Yeah, I think relate to, but I think are like still till today the stigma, right? That one, you end up believing yourself in the trap that you fall into, but that others perpetuate and you participate in as well.
Which is true. Yeah. Absolutely. But doesn't really help in the moment. So yeah, I would definitely say all the things I said at the beginning, plus vulnerability, plus just the best person for creating and holding space for your own competence and capabilities and power in spaces with others who have power.
I try.
What are you most proud of achieving in your professional life?
I think everything to date. And I say that in a very blanket state. Rewind, go back to the beginning. Initially, I think, let me rather say it like this. I could never have dreamed a dream as big as this that I'm living right now. I never thought that this was possible for me as someone growing up in, a disadvantaged, community, a person of color, a woman, coming from a divorced family, who all, within that, drug abuse and so forth, like all the ills and, societal issues and socioeconomical blah, 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 that you could think and tick off on that list were there and racked up against me. I mean, I would have just been fine, like being a business professional in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
The fact that I have, or let me say it rather, I'm on my way to what I feel is, global success.
Yes.
Is a dream that was too big for me to fathom.
To contemplate.
Totally.
I can relate to that because I do sometimes look at my life and I'm like, I did not even think that was possible. I was the person who found out that that Ivy League schools existed when I got to university. It was, I was not the person who understood that, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a consultant. It's going to be so great. I was like, what is consulting? Like, I was that person who was in that space going into my 20s. So to find myself in a completely different situation some decades later is quite mind-blowing.
But it also just felt, I think, very much out of my depth, right? Like, I think, besides, those issues and, often the imposter syndrome that we always walk around with, like I joined the firm with literally just a matric. I was still studying through correspondence to complete my my bachelor's degree. And there I was, recruiting now and having conversations, with these, the most amazing minds and so forth. And I was just like, little do they know.
I'm a fake. I'm an imposter. I don't even have my degree yet. But it's a pretty cool like flex though now.
I mean, looking back at it, it's like, yeah, but you held your own without it.
Yeah.
With their masters and all of that, So
Yeah.
it is something that I do look back on, with, a lot of pride. Um, yeah, shocking sometimes, really. It's like, oh wow.
Okay, so tell me about a time then where you failed spectacularly.
Oh, do I have to pick just one? Which part of my life would you like to learn or have me focus on? Because there's many, 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 many. A time when I failed spectacularly. Oof. Ah, I know. So I think a time when I failed spectacularly was which became, I think, more of a repetition was and let me say this rather, it took a long time to learn the skill, which is to really just use my voice, right? And I think that I failed spectacularly over and over and over again because I never spoke up in life. I was a people pleaser. I still am a people pleaser, but with boundaries. And not speaking up, not using my voice, not being able to say no when I needed to say no, or calling people out on their, which was really, I think, the more what led me down the wrong path of entertaining people that were just wasting my time and my value. Um, uh, was, I think, what I would really failed at life. Uh, was not speaking up and not speaking my truth, not feeling that I had the right to, that I didn't have the strength to, that I didn't want able to articulate myself, that I didn't believe it, right? And I think that's the worst part, is when you don't really believe that you have the right to say no, to speak up, then you're compliant in being shut down. Um, and now, even if I'm wrong, I'm like, oh, well, if you still, it's okay.
That's the thing. Is that I think even if you're wrong, what we don't realize is that there is such a low bar for the consequences of being wrong in everyday
Yes.
conversations with people,
Yes.
whatever. I often talk to people I coach about, like, I get it. It's tough to speak up in meetings, especially if you're in a room with all senior people, especially if you're a woman in a room with all men, especially if you're a young person in a room with older people with many, many years experience. Like, there are many dimensions of how you can feel out of place, like you don't belong in that space. But they probably will not remember what you said 5 minutes later. They're already thinking about their lunch. They're thinking about their kid's school concert. They're thinking about this proposal they need to write. They're thinking about the Excel model that needs to be completed. But they probably
Yeah.
will remember that you did speak up.
Yeah.
They will remember
But in
that
the
you
meantime,
did contribute without specifically remembering what you said.
you're looking at it like this, this epic depth of this black hole, right? Which is never ending. And it's just the magnitude of it for you that you're experiencing, which is like a flick of dust, if that at all, for others. Um, yeah. So I think for me, like, a time that I failed epically is really not speaking up, because from not speaking up, the missed opportunities, the continued bad treatment, the objectification, in everything around it,
So
right?
many
Like, just
things.
the
Yeah.
the abuse, and just ugh.
In a work context, what missed opportunity hurt you the most at the time?
Well, what missed opportunity hurt me most at the time? I would have to say it's the micro things for me. I think
Mm.
micro things where it's that, when your little voice says, maybe just double check that email. Maybe just, see if they want to come to that meeting. Maybe you just want to cross check this before you send it out to this person. Maybe you want to fact check that number. But I've got a list, and I'm going to tick off all these things on my list today. Person in me is like, no, I'm going to do this all now. Tick, 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 done. And then backfire. Why? Misjudgment.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, is what really hurts me the most, is when I knew better.
But you
but I
didn't do
didn't do
better.
better. I
No,
didn't do better.
Oprah would not be impressed.
No, exactly. And then it's that, Melise, you know, had you just taken a step back? It's like,
And you're
I
going,
know.
no, like obviously I should have done that, but obviously I also did not do that. So, this is
Yeah,
not that helpful in the moment. How did you
yeah.
fix this though, right? Because I think it's all very good and well, and so many people are saying, like, speak up, use your voice, don't be a people pleaser, especially in a work context. How do you fix that?
I'm still trying to fix that in a positive manner because at the moment I fix it with deep self-loathing and pain. I beat myself with my own disappointment stick, So I'm still learning, I think, how to do it in a healthy, constructive, positive manner, as opposed to, being led what has up until now been my coping teaching mechanism, which is don't let people down.
Yeah, which you guess you have to kind of remind yourself that you are also people.
Thank you.
So don't let yourself down either. What did you try to do to fix it though, when you were at the beginnings of this journey of realizing that this was a behavioral pattern you wanted to break?
So it actually started with a sticky note. Strangely enough, it literally just started with a sticky note. Literally just writing the word judgment and pause. And I put it on my computer, and every day what is the word I'm looking for? Like, just, conditioning,
Yeah.
just, like unconscious conditioning, I suppose. And magically I did to myself. So when the little voice would come up and it'd be like, ha, yes, I'm going to listen to you today. And the more I listened to it, it became, I started to trust myself more. And I was like, so when you do listen to yourself, actually, you're right. Oh, actually, yeah, pause, have judgment. Don't just act, you know? Literally, and that literally, it was a yellow sticky note with the words pause and judgment on it.
That's so good. And pretty easy, right? Because you could do that like tomorrow.
Exactly. But I think it came to the point of being so emotionally distraught and and all of this pain sort of built up that I think the simplicity of the solution, maybe 5 years ago may not have been effective.
Yeah.
And it's probably just the right time where it needed to take place. Maybe because I was more receptive to receiving it.
I love how you're like more receptive to receiving your own feedback about yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
often it's not amplifying the inner voice that people need. It's downplaying it because that inner voice is full of so much negativity.
Yeah.
So it's funny for me that your self-talk was like, no, 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 babe, you're great. Just, give yourself time to be great.
That's literally it. That is literally it, because the voice that's been leading me this whole time is you're not good enough. Try harder, do harder, push yourself more. Go and please this person. Go and do that. Go and do this. Go and do that. Oh, you didn't. Oh, you got a B. You should get an A. You got an A. Where's the A plus?
So in the process then of coming to learn about how to listen to your own voice, how to not just make the judgment pause, post it, but then also listen to it. What did you tell people you learned from it? And what did you actually learn from it?
So I think what I tell people that I've learned is, listen to your inner voice. You always know better. Trust yourself. And I actually don't want to be trusted. I want to be left the F alone, actually. Actually, I don't want to be pushed, and I don't want to try. I don't want to be moved to the uncomfortable place where change happens. That is what I have realized. However, when I do look back, and I'm like, actually, I'm glad it all took place.
Yeah.
So yes, the very PC version of, believing in yourself and so forth. The reality is that it made me feel terribly uncomfortable. I didn't like that experience. It took me through a bit of trauma, a few anxiety attacks. Didn't really like how it made me feel at all. Very uncomfortable. But coming through it, a harder skin.
Yeah.
A harder skin.
More resilience, absolutely.
More resilience.
And I'm glad that you've spoken truth to power here, because I often feel that way. Like, I know you're supposed to love getting feedback. I know
I don't.
it help you grow and like learn things and, put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. I do find that I was much more excited about doing that early in my career. So maybe that's also just like a career phase thing. But, and I do find also, to be fair, that I'm not as hurt by feedback, because I don't take feedback as personally as I did at the beginning of my career now. But I still don't like it.
Yeah, I actually don't want to hear it.
And I don't know if I'm ever going to like it. Like, it's good that I get it. And I always encourage people to give it to me. And I'm not lying when I tell them that, because I know I need it. But it's like going to the dentist. Yeah. Do I like it? No. Do I need it? Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the tough thing, because you can, we're not ever really in safe spaces where we can just openly say, I know I'm supposed to be trying to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I'm just uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to keep getting uncomfortable. I want to be safe.
Oh, same. Yeah, I do. And that's I think also the joy of finding professional and personal relationships where you can have that safety, where that even though people are giving you that feedback, they're doing it always from a place where they genuinely care about you.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot easier to take that feedback.
Yeah. And I think that is like a defining thing for me in particular, in terms of how receptive I am to getting to my most optimal self, right? My most optimal output, my most actualized, self is when I feel, besides feeling safe, but the people that I'm doing it for, because I'm a people pleaser. And when I know that the people I'm pleasing appreciate me, genuinely appreciate me, I go all the way hard. And then it's like, I will bear my soul on the cross for you. I would do it all for you. I would
Don't
I'd walk on this hot coal.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Be uncomfortable. No, but this is me, right? Like I would do that. And it's more kind of, I think, out of believing in something bigger than myself, which is why I can then, I think, put myself out of it and the experience and the uncomfortableness that I'm going through, because it's not about me, it's actually about something bigger, better, and greater.
Yeah.
But when I'm going through something where I do feel, let's say, less secure, not necessarily insecure, just less secure, because it's a transactional experience.
Yeah.
It's like, do I really want to grow? Do I really want this experience?
Do I really need this? And I'm a big proponent in, as much as we should have resilience through negative experiences, we should also not glamorize negative experiences as like you had to go through that to be better. Like, actually, I probably did not have to go through that to be better.
Exactly.
It might have taken me 6 months or a year more to learn it in more positive ways and healthier ways, but I didn't have to do it this way, right? Like, exactly. That was a choice that I made, or it was a situation I find myself in. But let's not get it twisted and act as though I had to go through a bad situation because I
to always get exactly. Yeah. I don't need that, super inspiring, like, story to tell because I went through this.
Oh, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'd rather just not have the stories. I'd rather not have the stories than I don't have the trauma.
I'm not gonna have the stories. Exactly.
Which, you know what? I hope there's some woman is listening or some man is listening to this going like, yeah, thank you. I also needed permission to not want to have to not.
And that's the thing. But this is the thing, right? Is that like, and the whole, like, even the concept of strong-ish, right? There's like, to be strong implies that there's some deep, moving, meaningful, life-changing, oh my gosh, you went through the thing and only you survived it. And no, I want to glaze through life. I want to be a cherry donut. I want to be a fluffy person too. I want to be soft.
So much. Soft. Melise, thank you for honestly, I feel like I've been to therapy. Plus, I have been to a cocktail bar, having a chit chat with a friend, all in one very, very long session. So thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure having you, and all hail the fail.
The pleasure has been all mine, or as my little one would say, welcome. You're welcome.